What's up everyone, I'm Micah. Welcome back to the channel. This is everything I watched in August. Because somehow it's September, I haven't uploaded in an entire month, but I am working on some other videos, but I just needed a little break like that. And I want to do some different stuff with the channel. I don't really know what that's going to be yet, but for now, this is everything I watched in August. So coming up first, the worst movie I saw in August was Frozen. This is a really interesting one. I was curious to see if it was actually bad or if I hated it just because of how popular it was and how everyone was so crazy about it for a few years there. So I rewatched it to see if it was actually bad, and I kind of think it is. Elsa is a horrible character, and the twist villain involving Hans is just so badly done, so random, so extreme. Disney thought they had to have clever twist villains in all their films at that time, and it's just awful. I also don't even like the songs in this film. They're not as annoying or repetitive as they were in Frozen 2, but they're still not great. And so I do kind of like Kristoff and Olaf at times, but they're also annoying at other times. And this movie does have I think it has a decent message to tell, but it doesn't tell it right, because it screws up in so many areas. And now, I'm probably never going to watch this movie again. I thought I never was going to, but since my taste in film has changed, I decided to rewatch it, but my opinion honestly hasn't changed all that much. It's not a good film. Then I saw Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and yeah, it's really low on the list because I didn't think it was all that good. It was pretty boring, but I don't have all that much to say about it. I'll just say The Sting is so much better. Same director, same two actors. Everything in The Sting is a lot better than this. Butch Cassidy was just really dull and boring the entire way through, while The Sting I thought was super clever, and even though it was long, it was never boring, not even close. This one just never interested me whatsoever, and for a score, I'd have to only give this a 5 out of 10. Next, with all the real life storms going on during this month, I actually watched a bunch of movies about crazy storms, including 2012. It's a movie made in 2009 called 2012, The Perfect Storm, and Twister. And there's another one we'll talk about later, but these three we're talking about in a group because none of these are great, but I also didn't hate any of them. The Perfect Storm really annoyed me, especially the opening. I really didn't like how they kept playing music throughout the entirety of the film. So many of these scenes would be so much better if they were silent without the music, but they just felt the need to keep the music in there every second of the time, and I really didn't prefer that. Now, there are some good actors in this film, some decent performances like George Clooney, and they tried to make you care about these characters so hard. They tried to give you a reason to care about each one of them, but I don't think they fully succeeded in that. Then there's also 2012, which is a lot less realistic than these other ones I watched. It's just about how the entire Earth is just moving around and falling apart. And this one does have good visuals. Roland Emmerich definitely does good with that. But something about this one didn't land right for me, and there are just a couple seconds in this movie, random seconds, that just kind of ruin little parts of it. I can't even tell you really what I mean by that, but there's just some really weird decisions that kind of mess it up. Anyway, I don't really have much of an opinion on 2012, but it just wasn't as good as another Storm Roland Emmerich film, which we'll talk about later. And then there's Twister. This was good. This was the first of the Storm movies I watched, and it was fine. A lot of this movie is just people in trucks chasing storms, and it's fine that it doesn't have too much of a story. And again, like The Perfect Storm, they try to make you really care about these characters. They don't quite do it, but they really did try, and it turned out okay. I don't know what else to say. Then I saw The Suicide Squad, the newest DCEU film. Does the DCEU even really exist anymore? I mean, what movies are part of the canon anymore? And is it even a connected universe? I can't tell. I can't tell if this is connected to any of the other ones, but it was a lot of fun. It's a crazy movie. James Gunn, he definitely succeeded again. All of his movies are good that I've seen. And yeah, this is a lot better than the other Suicide Squad movie, for sure. The characters are great. Every character is just super unique. Nanawe, the shark guy, he's just awesome. He's probably my favorite character. Polka Dot Man is hilarious. John Cena's character is also great. Everyone, all the characters in the second team of the Suicide Squad, they're just so great. And then there's the action. The action is also really insane. And the gore is absolutely disgusting. There's so much disgusting blood in this movie. Maybe cross the line a little bit. But overall, yeah, this movie it's very well done. I'm glad it was made. I'm glad there is a good Suicide Squad movie now. But it's not one of my favorites. Definitely not a favorite of mine. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I also saw Moonstruck. This is a classic that I had no idea really what it was about, and yet it was nothing like I thought it would be. I didn't have any expectations, and yet it completely subverted my expectations. This is a really funny movie, has a lot going for it, a lot of quotable parts to it, and some very likable characters. Again, I have not much else to say, but this is one that I would definitely recommend. Then I rewatched Monsters University, and yeah, this is such a great film. With the Monsters at Work TV show, I decided to watch all the rest of the Monsters Universe content, and I love this movie even more now. It doesn't feel the same as Monsters Inc., but I'm totally fine with that. It kind of has even more energy than Monsters Inc. does, and it's got a totally new message to send, which is that your life may not go how you plan it to, which is what Mike learns in this film, that he might just not be meant for scaring, even though he worked as hard as he could to be a scarer. It's a really good and honest thing to put into a Pixar movie like this that a lot of kids are going to watch, and this is a 9 out of 10 movie. And then I finally saw Stand By Me, which is, yeah, it's an incredible film. It's super relatable to basically anyone. I mean, everyone knew kids like this at some point. Each of the main characters has such a well-developed personality, and you really get to know them over the course of this adventure. It's basically perfect. It's got the comedy, and it's also got the more slow and heartfelt moments. Everyone already knows this film is great. So yeah, if you somehow haven't seen it yet, definitely go watch it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. And the last of the Storm movies I saw was The Day After Tomorrow, another Roland Emmerich one, and this is a lot better than 2012. You can actually really feel the stakes in this film. You understand the stakes, and you want these characters to survive. And also the visuals are just incredible. The scene with all the tornadoes in LA, or any of the stuff with the flooding, or the extreme cold. There's a lot of different stuff that happens in this movie, and it's all visualized perfectly. I think this one just did everything better than the others. They made you know what these characters are trying to accomplish, and they also made it really gripping to watch by making the visuals great, and keeping you on the edge of your seat, basically for the whole time. That's why this movie is actually great. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. And finally, the best movie was Monsters, Inc., which I watched outside on my big projector, and that was a lot of fun. As a lot of you know, this is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Best Pixar film, best animated film, and probably the best world building of any movie I've ever seen. I've talked about this film plenty of times on the channel, so I don't really feel like I have to talk about it anymore, but it was easily the best movie I saw this month. Still one of my absolute favorites. So thanks for watching, everyone. That was everything I watched in August. Coming up soon for this channel, I'm probably going to be doing a video on MCU versus DCEU through the years. Since the Suicide Squad and Shang-Chi came out around the same time, I'm going to be doing a video on the MCU and the DCEU, so be on the lookout for that. But until then, I'm signing off. See you in the next one.